So, Chris, there's a Christmas program coming up, isn't there, like next year? Next month? Next month. I mean, Mary was kind of pushing us into December already a little bit, but yeah. Would there be more people like welcoming the choir to help with that?
I don't know. Will there be more people?
So,
We meet Thursday nights except for Thanksgiving,
yes.
and we may be bumping next Thursday because of the play.
So Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah. But see him if you would like to help sing.
absolutely.
Especially if you're a guy, right? Would you guys like some company back there? What's that?
They actually kind of like having all the girls to themselves, but
I understand.
yeah, we'd love to have it.
And then the other thing, Michael, I'm jealous. I mean, I get one little podium. Chris gets one little music stand.
It's the stretch limo.
Now that is a man with expansive consciousness. I love it. How is everybody today? Great. Me too. Had a nice dinner last night with the Harvest Festival dinner, Harvest dinner. So a friend of mine practitioner friend of mine posted this wonderful saying on Facebook that I wanted to share with you. He says, most people don't want the truth. Most people don't want the capital T truth. Can you hear Jack Nicholson? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Okay? Most people don't want the truth. They want complete, constant assurance, reassurance that what they believe is the truth. I want to constantly be reassured that what I already believe is the truth. Don't confuse me with facts. I was telling the first service that during ministerial school, one of the phrases we learned was from Harry Emerson Fosdick, who was a fabulous minister in the middle of the last century in a church in New York City. And I would call him a kind of a New Thought Baptist minister, very liberal. And his church would have people who were homeless people sitting right next to like John D. Rockefeller and people like that. They all attended the same church. And he said the role of a minister is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. When I was married in ministerial school, I always used to say, well, I'll take care of afflicting the comfortable, and to my wife, you can take care then of comforting the afflicted that I've afflicted. So, but that didn't work out so well, so I get to do both now, although we do have a wonderful practitioner body to help you if you feel afflicted. But rather than afflicting, what my hope is to lovingly support you and me in expanding our idea of how big the truth is, how big our lives really are. Getting gently, but definitely, out of our old comfort zones that don't serve anymore. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yeah? Some people say yes. Others, you're not so sure, right? But I like my comfort zone. It's comfortable. So we've been stretching comfort zones for some of you a little bit lately, right? We've been talking about money in church. And I know that for some of you, some of you have told me that's wonderful. You really appreciate the way that I've been handling it. And a couple of others have been saying, you're talking too much about money and I feel uncomfortable about it and all that stuff. And I wanted to, so I want you to know that this is the last Sunday. We're going to do our receiving our pledges. Next week we will return to our regularly scheduled broadcast, okay? So if you've been worried about it, if you think this is going to go on forever, it's not. So next week I will not talk about money unless I'm feeling particularly mischievous, and then I might. I won't. But this Sunday we're going to do a wonderful sacred ritual to receive the pledges, to receive the consciousness that we've been building for the last couple of weeks. And I know that if you grew up in a family like I did that either did not talk about money at all or used money to shame you, the kind of, your father and I spent good money to send you to that Catholic school, and he didn't even want to send you to school, it was all me, and now you're wasting your time. That's called shaming you with money. We bought you this wonderful new bike, toy, whatever, and now you've broken it or you're not using it right or whatever, and that's called shaming with money. Some of you don't stick your hand up, but I know some of you have experienced that. And so we've experienced unhealthy family models about how to talk about money. And then we go to some of our churches and we have unhealthy models about how to talk about money. Please give us money. Or, God wants you to give me all your money so that I can have another Rolls Royce and I can have another mansion in Hawaii. Those kind of things. What I'm hoping to do is to set up more of a healthy look at how to talk about money, because we are a family. We are a family, right? Yes. Okay? We have this community. And so how part of our community, one of the things to talk about, just like in any family, a family is healthy when you can talk about whatever needs to be talked about in a way that's respectful, kind, and loving. Would you agree? Yes. Okay? And that's the model that I want to be able to set up. And so one of the things that's important to this church, and not the only thing, one of the things that's important to this church is that we have a healthy financial process going. Mary Manna Morrissey said it best when she said that we want to have enough money to where we're comfortable enough to be able to create what we want. We're comfortable enough to be able to create what we want. How would you like that in your life? Does that sound good? Okay. Great. So that's what we're doing here, is looking at the process of how can we create enough money in this community and continue to create, because we're in a healthy state. We're not here begging because we're in trouble. We're not in trouble. We're actually very healthy, as we talked about a couple of Sundays ago. And so we've talked about that. We've talked about the process of, we are healthy. We've talked about where the money goes. We've talked about where we want the money to go, because we have some dreams and some visions for 2015 that we'd like to be able to expand more of what we do, right? We'd have to have more support and ways. And so we talked about that. We talked about last week about the practice of tithing, that if you'd like to, and it's an optional, but if you'd like to engage that as a spiritual practice, you can play with that process. And so we talked about all that. And today we're going to kind of pull that all together, and I'm going to invite you to take the pledge cards that you have and actually in a little bit bring them up and allow yourself to share them with the community and allow yourself to be honored for that in a way that's loving and supportive. And for that, you're going to receive a gift. And so the gift that you share is your pledge. And in my foundations class, I had a couple of people ask a question about, they were unclear about the difference between pledging and tithing. Is a pledge a tithe, or is a tithe a pledge, or what's the thing? And I figured if 2 out of the 8 people in my foundations class were not clear about it, there might be 1 or 2 more people in the congregation. Maybe I didn't explain it well. So let's see if I can capture that a little bit better, just for technicality. A pledge is just simply an agreement with the center that you're going to give a certain amount of money a month to the center, period. It can be $1, it can be $1 million, it doesn't matter, it's just the agreement. A tithe is 10% of your income. I agree to give 10% of my income. And so how that looks, and I basically used kind of a model, a theoretical model for myself. So I have income that's what I call certain income. So I have a salary from the church. I have, there's this little network marketing business that I used to work that I don't work anymore, but I still get checks from them on a monthly basis. It's so nice to do nothing and have these checks for pretty good sized amount of money roll in every single month. Thank you, God. And so I know about the minimum of what that's going to be, and then I also get a Social Security check. So I take all that together and I say, okay, that's what I call my I know predictable income, and that's what I say, that's my pledge. I know every single month I can give 10% of that predictable income, and that's my pledge. Now the truth is that usually that network marketing business check is larger than that. I also get some counseling practice business, but that's not always certain what it's going to be. Sometimes I'm teaching classes and get paid for that. Sometimes I'm being asked to go speak somewhere else or go do a workshop at another church, and so I get money from that. And sometimes people just plain flat out give me money. I like those experiences. And that's unpredictable. But that's what I give to the church every month. So I write my tithe check based on 10% of my income, but my pledge, what I say that I will guarantee that I will give every month, is based on what I know for sure. Does that make sense? Yeah. Does that kind of help? Clarify that? This is yes, this is no. Okay. Great. And by the way, I know a couple of you are here for the first time, and if you're not sure if this is your spiritual community, that's just fine. You're blessing us by your presence. Thank you for being here. You don't have to pledge. Just this is, just know that this is, just observe this is what we do. Next week we'll talk about something else. So if you've already turned in a card, one of the pledge cards, and does everybody have one of those hopefully with them? I turned mine in last time. There's a little green card there. If you've already turned one in, like last week or the week before to Sylvia, just write duplicate on the bottom of it if you'd like to take part in this ceremony, in this ritual, so that Sylvia doesn't think you're going to give that amount twice a month. Because she will. You're that way, aren't you? Yeah, she says yes. It's a good thing. So just write duplicate on the bottom of it. In a moment, what we're going to do is a little visioning process in which I'm going to invite you to simply listen to Spirit within you for what it is you would like to share this coming year. Okay? We'll just take a few minutes for that. And then we're going to have a ritual. And I love ritual. I grew up in the Catholic Church, as many of you may remember. And the Catholic Church is loaded with ritual, right? You know, and many people have talked to me, and I know a number of you have grown up in Catholic or Episcopal or those kinds of churches, and you know, one of the things you say is, we miss the ritual. You know, oftentimes. Some people, it's like, I never want to see a ritual again, you know, but some of it, it's like, you know, I want to go to midnight mass on you know, Christmas Eve, and I want to go to sunrise service on Easter, and there's this whole kind of ritual, and I used to be an altar boy, you know, you swing the incense, and get a little bit high off the frankincense coming up, and you're, you know, and stuff like that. And so there's that whole process. Ritual done well, ritual in a healthy way, is a way to bypass the intellect. And we process so much from the intellect, don't we, in this culture? It's a way to bypass the intellect and move to our heart and move to our soul, move to our deeper process, our deeper experience. And so I'm going to invite you to consider taking part in this ritual. You don't have to, but it's I know Mary and I were talking after the first service, and people found it very rich and very wonderful blessing. Relatively simple, relatively easy, which rituals should be, and participatory. So if you feel called to participate in that, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. And so there's no right or wrong or judgment. But what we're going to do in a moment after we do the visioning about the pledge cards is I'm going to invite you to come up and bring up your pledge card and place it in the bowl, and the practitioners and board members are going to greet you and say thank you for the gift, and also then give you a gift back. We have a wonderful brochure here to give you back, and we'll talk about that after the process, so that you'll receive a gift as you give your gift. And so, and the choir will be singing behind, you know, us, you know, with that whole process. So the ushers in a few minutes will guide you, and you'll start from coming down the side aisles from the back, bringing your card up, and that. But first, we're going to do the visioning process. Okay, so let's just take a breath, deep breath in together, and if you feel comfortable, gently close your eyes. Have your pledge card handy. The ushers have pens. If you need a pen, just raise your hand and one of the ushers will bring you a pen. Ushers, we got a couple of people who would like pens. There's one covered over there, and then there's one in the center over here. Wonderful. All right. So breathing deep, taking a couple of deep breaths, letting go of everything that came before this moment. Letting go of any fear, letting go of any judgment, letting go of any of the stuff, and just paying attention to the breath. Relaxing. Thank you. So, I believe in supporting you in creating lives you love. Is that okay? Yes. Would you like the lives you love? Yes. That's what we're about. That's what I'm about. And so those of you who pledged, were given a gift of this brochure. And in it there's two things that are two tools. Because I believe that the giving that I invite us to do is out of a sense of being full already. And then out of that sense of fullness, sharing. So this is not giving out of need or necessity or duty or obligation or to buy your way into heaven or, you know, buy your way into me liking you better or the board liking you better or whatever. This is giving from your heart and your soul and from your sense of fullness. And so one of the things that I want to support you in is having that sense of fullness and expanding that in your lives in the most wonderful ways. And for some of you that might be money, for some of you that might be healthier, loving relationships, it might be healthier bodies, it might be more creativity, it might be more wisdom, it might be whatever it is for you. And it varies for each of us. So, but I'm here to support you in that process. And so the two gifts we have are gifts that are designed to do that process. One is a bookmark, which the way that I use this is I put it somewhere where I'm going to see it on a regular basis. So that might be on my refrigerator, because I occupy or go to my refrigerator often. It might be in my chocolate stash. It might be in my book that I'm reading and keep it using it as a bookmark. But it has a wonderful prayer on one side. On the back side, it has 3 different quotes, one from Ralph Waldo Emerson, one was the reading that we had today from Dr. Ernest Holmes, and then finally from Jesus' quotes. And so something to keep that consciousness going for you. The second thing is this 40 Days to Prosperity, which is the 40-day prosperity program out of the Abundance book by John Randolph Price. Some of you may have seen that book, worked with this program before. It is a powerful 40 days shifting of the consciousness. There's a wonderful quote that I want to read from Joel Goldsmith that kind of talks about why we do 40 days. Why not just one day? One of the first things that we must learn is the nature of God. And we cannot learn it merely by reading or hearing about it. However, by cogitating, pondering, or meditating on the message that you listen to or read, you can learn the nature of God from within your own being. So you learn it from within your own being. I can provide the finger pointing at the moon, but you have to experience the moon. And so that's what this process is. So he goes on to say, the words or message is the truth about truth, capital T truth. But, capital T truth, reveals itself to you from within. The message must be taken into your consciousness and nurtured until, like a seed, it develops into a spiritual crop you can reap. So this program is a process for supporting you in developing that seed. And here's the fun thing that I realized as I was putting this together. If you were to start this 40-day program today and stay with it all 40 days, the last day of it will be Christmas Day.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay? So what a way to celebrate the birth of light into your life, the birth of the new consciousness into your life. And if you want to just be, financial about it, what a way to have a greater prosperity consciousness to take care of your Christmas expenses. However you want to approach it. But it's a powerful process. It's 10 readings, affirmations, things to contemplate and journal on each day. And if you'll take the time to read them, if you'll take the time to journal a little bit, meditate on them a little bit, I promise you, because I've worked with this program a lot in my life, it will shift your life. It will shift your consciousness. It was funny, I was having to look on Amazon because I wanted to see how much it would cost to buy books for the whole congregation to have that. It would have been a little pricey, so we just took the core of it. The book itself, by the way, has more than just this program in it, if you ever do want to buy the book. And I think we have them in the bookstore. But you might want to work with that. But there's all these testimonials of, I worked this program and this is the experience that I had. And so a lot of people have worked with this. It's a great consciousness. And doing it together, if we do it as a community spiritual practice, more or less staying in the same day, it lifts the consciousness of the whole community all at once. And so not only are you doing it by yourself, but 100 of us are doing this at the same time. It lifts the consciousness of everyone. So I invite you to take this program and work with it and lift your prosperity. You willing to do that? Yes. Great. So I think we've said all we need to say. I thank you for your gifts. I thank you for the gift of love that you are to this community. It looks like money, doesn't it? But it's really love. It's really God's energy flowing as love. Money is just a form of God's energy. It's just that. Take a breath. When we recognize that in our lives, we start to detach from it. And that's one of the things the 40-day prosperity program starts to help us to see is source and the real nature of money, prosperity, whatever it is. So I'm grateful to all of you who have pledged. I'm grateful for all of you who have considered pledging. I'm grateful for all of you who haven't yet pledged but are just here and being here anyways, just for being here. Because I know that simply being here, you're willing to grow and you're willing to have your soul and your heart and your mind open to Spirit. And that to me is the greatest thing you can give the world, is to be an open place for Spirit operating in the world. So thank you very much. Let's pray. So I know that there is that one infinite presence, that is pure love and pure wisdom, that is indeed all that there is. And it is so magnificent, beyond our most fantastic imagination. It is that which is the galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy of billions upon billions and billions of stars, that abundance. It is the pure infinite love that every mystic who has ever touched it has experienced, as a love that is so beyond our understanding and so beyond any performance or any earning of it we could ever do, that this is an infinite presence that just holds us in love. And we are one of that. Oh, if we could just get it. We are one of that, completely, totally, every detail of our being. That little wrinkle you don't like, that little flabby thing that you don't like somewhere on your body, that little behavior that you have that you don't like, the missing piece that you think is missing is perfect in the mind of God. And we are all in love, held in this infinite love. And so my prayer today, my word that I speak today, is just simply that we get that so more fully than we have ever gotten it. That we are the heart of God, we are the love of God, the wisdom of God in form, and all we have to do is just simply say yes to that. We open to that infinite presence. We open to the recognition of who we are, who we truly are, who we really are. And it isn't that little voice that goes, Gigi, 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 Gigi. It's the voice that goes, you are my beloved in whom I am so well pleased. That is who each of us truly is. And so out of that we move into this great gratitude, this great, great, deep sense of thanksgiving for being who we are, and for the infinite universe that supports us and expresses itself through us, as us, and for all the good that comes out of that and the blessing that each of us is. Because each of us is and already has been and always will be a blessing. And for all this I'm grateful. And so I release this word, I plant it into the soil of the law, allowing the seed that becomes nurtured and loved. The seed of prosperity, and the prosperity is not just money, it is the full expression of the good that we are, the fullest of it, however it is. And so we let this seed of this abundant love and wisdom and prosperity expand through us and grow. Because that is simply the nature of the universe. That is the nature of the divine. And we are of that nature. And so in gratitude we simply let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
To love, serve.